Thank you very much for making a date today on the marketplace. Let's settle for the very fair story. Government has reiterated it is committed to reviving the once vibrant car assembling and parts manufacturing company, New Plant Ghana Limited. The reassurance comes after management of the company met with the State Interest and Governance Authority, SIGA, to find a lasting solution on how to revive the ailing company. CEO of SIGA, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, after the meeting, told Joy Business the state may be considering diluting part of its shares to allow for restructuring of New Plant.
And indeed, we've met them several times. Yesterday, we met them, myself and the Minister for Trade and Industry. We met the president of the minority group from Paris, who's in the country now. He put together a proposal, but basically, I think he wants to capitalize the company. But as a minority, he needs our support. So we are working together with him how to restructure the shareholding arrangement. If it means government must give up some shares to make them become the bigger shareholder and for them to capitalize better, fine. Or if it means we still hold on to our shares and then find the extra resource to make New Plan work, then fine. Because really, if there's a bigger automobile industry going on, then we must also play a key role. And in fact, they can build the chassis and assemble the thing in Kumasi and Accra. I hear even Cape Coast is even putting up a case for New Plan to come and build. In that case, then we can then provide the resources for them to import the parts and build and then service the needs of like metro mass transport or intercity STC, and even the schools and colleges to build for buses and all the trucks. So those are the areas that we're looking at. Yesterday was a very fruitful meeting, and we are assured that the company is not going to go down and that the workers there must feel comfortable that the shareholder as a government is also playing this part, and hopefully we should put in the resources. So two key things we discussed yesterday and to work on are the shareholding structure, and which I said we would look at whether to dilute our shares and let them have a bigger share so they can capitalize it, or we come up with the money and capitalize it.
Those were some assuring words from Stephen Asamoah Boateng, CEO of SIGA. Away from that, receiver for the defunct financial institutions has outlined modalities for payments of claims of depositors from today. This follows a directive by President Akufo-Addo that payments should start from this morning. George Rafi has more in this report.
According to the receiver, all the said payments shall be made through branches of Consolidated Bank Ghana across the country. Based on information provided by the receiver, Consolidated Bank will then open new accounts for all the depositors whose claims have been validated and agreed in receivership for the liquidated financial institutions. The receiver is expected to send a text message to these depositors that are due for payment, setting out the account number and the cash amount for payment. The payments are to be made in the form of cash and bonds. However, 97% of the individual payment will be made by cash, while those deposits belonging to corporate firms will be done by bonds. According to the receiver, it is also in the process of validating claims to aid further payments. It has also confirmed receiving 5 billion Ghana cedis in the form of cash and bonds from government. The payment should bring some relief to those who had complained in the past that the delays was badly affecting their business and dealings. However, Joy Business is learning that only those who received their text message from this morning are allowed to go to the Consolidated Bank Ghana to receive their monies.
Well, joining me in studio now is George Rafi for some updates of the payment process. George, welcome to the market.
Thank you.
What can you tell us? But before then, can you bring us up to speed with how it all started?
Well, so you remember that last year some institutions they lost their license to operate as a savings and loans company as well as a microfinance institutions. Okay. Now, the original plan per what the Bank of Ghana gave the receiver was to actually dispose the assets that they have realized from these institutions and then start the payments. Even with respect to the law, there are guidelines on how the payment should be done. But it appears that the receiver is struggling to realize all these assets in terms of disposing them, selling them. You could recollect that recently they were trying to do an auction of the cars and it didn't go as expected in terms of even those who wanted to buy and the prices and all those things. So it looks like government took some actions that saying that, okay, we want to kind of pre-finance this process, give an advance payment to the receiver to give it, quote, to these depositors who had their funds locked up. And if later you realize the money from those assets, then we take it as government. So when the President of the State of the Nation address announced that from today, some monies have been given to the receiver, that is Eric Nandipa of PricewaterhouseCoopers, to start making the payment today. Indeed, when we check with them, they confirm that they have the money all right, and that is in a form of cash and then bond as well.
All right. No, that doesn't mean that all the depositors are going to get their cash from today.
No, because what we understand from the receiver is that these are deposits or claims that have been validated and gone through the process. So you brought in a document saying that maybe this institution, Wiafe Savings and Loans, that has lost its license, owes you about 10,000 Ghana cedis or maybe 50,000 Ghana cedis. They need to check with the documents with Wiafe Savings and Loans to establish that indeed I put money in your savings and loans company, and these monies are indeed there, and indeed you owe me. So then when they do all the validations, then they would be able to send you a text message. That a system that is linked between the receiver's office and the bank that has been designated, that is the consolidated bank. And that message is generated and sent to you. So the two institutions all have a system that indeed could demonstrate that we are fair or I supposed to come there for some money. So it would only, for those who have been given that SMS message, they are the only persons that can even go there today to claim their funds.
So it's
and I understand that the process is still being worked on, validation is still ongoing to aid the payment, possibly from today. All other things being equal.
But do you have any updates as to how the process is going?
So what we understand is that all the branches of the consolidated banks are supposed to be designated outlet for you to go and collect your money. So if you get the SMS alert that you can go to maybe Unibank, maybe Consolidated Bank branch in East Legon, you can walk there and then withdraw your monies. But also they're trying to bring in some arrangement where they might be able to open an account for you, depending on your investment that you had there. And also the fact that you also need to bring in the required identification to show that indeed this is George Wiafe, and they will start making the necessary payment for you as well.
Right. So finally, before you go, there have been some concerns that the whole process could impact the economy negatively.
Yeah, it depends on how you look at it. So first, you want to look at the fact that when the president said that all the deposits might be paid, everybody thought that, okay, so today everyone can just walk into the branch and withdraw his or her money. But it's not so. The argument here is that anytime you push in X amount of money into the economy, if you want to look at the liquidity situation, it has to be balanced with productivity. So if you have more money in circulation than what the economy can absorb within a week or a day, it may have some negative impact on inflation in terms of having more money in the system, and literally that might go after little goods that are on the market, and that might not be good again.
But these were monies that were already circulating in the system, but were withdrawn because of the challenges.
But that's where Bank of Ghana has a policy that they always want to manage the amount of money in circulation. So yes, that this is a planned money that they're going to put in the system. Every week you have to balance that with economic activities. Otherwise, if you have more money in circulation than what the economy can absorb, that might not be good for the economy. Also, if you go through the budget, this money has not been captured as in planned expenditure. People are worried about the implications for our rising budget deficit and whether, again, if they're not going to cut other expenditure to make way for this, then it means that we might even end the year with a higher budget deficit than we've planned. And that might not be good for the economy as well.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so much,
Wiafe, with that update on the payment of depositors' outstanding claims. Now, away from that, Peasant Farmers Association want government to provide budgetary allocation for Greek researchers as a proactive measure against the threat of locust invasion currently ravaging farmers in the eastern part of Africa. According to the Programs Director of the Peasant Farmers Association, Charles Nyaba, this is crucial to help safeguard investor confidence in the agribusiness sector.
When the fall armyworm started in the Latin America and part of Northern Africa, we were relaxed. We never put any measures in place to be able to contain them when they happen to get here. So I think we should be drawing lessons from that. Our scientists, led by SARI, CSIR, they have to start. They should visit those places and find out the measures they are putting in place to contain them, so that they can also come back and then put their equipment ready. And then governments also prepare in terms of budget to support them to be able to start researching and then in intervention to reduce that. Look, there is so much attention in agriculture. And different people, investors, both domestic and foreigners, are showing interest in investing in the Ghanaian agriculture. Things like this are things that can take us a step back. So I think we need to work hard to give people confidence that even in the event of this unforeseen risks, there's always a way out. Otherwise, it won't be good for all of us.
How devastating can the locust attack be for us?
Locust infestation is just like bushfire. From the little literature I've reviewed, so that they invade your farm and within the next 3 days, everything is gone. They chop every green leaf on the farm, so you lose the entire farm.
And so within the agric sector, Tyne district in the Bono region is stepping up efforts to maximize influence of cashew on revenue mobilization in the area. According to the district chief executive of the area, Charity Jomo, cashew has not been considered as a major revenue generator within the Tyne district over the years. Charity Jomo, who was addressing the media at Nsoko, the district capital, stated her administration has realized the potential of cashew revenue, hence the decision to make it a priority. JoyNews Nesta Kafria Jumo has more in this report. Over the years, stakeholders in Ghana's cashew sector have been working to expand, modernize and transform the industry into a significant foreign exchange earner, creating jobs and substantial wealth for Ghanaians. Institutions such as the Ghana Export Promotion Authority and the Cashew Industry Association of Ghana have collaborated effectively to making cashew a leading revenue generator across the country. At the local level, DCE for Tyne in the Bono region, Charity Jumo, says more innovative ways have been devised to closely monitor revenue from cashew within the area.
The revenue from cashew had no impact on the district assembly because, as I said, measures were not put in place. They will go and sell it to SAMPA. SAMPA will take the statistics, the data, and even the revenue. We started serious revenue collection last year. We made a significant improvement. When you look at the graph, you realize that during the cashew season, it peaked and then came back to normal again. Apart from cashew revenue, the rest of the revenue that we get here, the IGF, is really insignificant because the trading activities is not that brisk.
Charity Jumo says the District Assembly will continue to work closely with all stakeholders to enhance cashew production as well as maximize revenue from the sale of the commodity. To this end, farmers are being supported with free improved cashew seedlings to make sure their cashew nuts from the area meets international standards. Nesta Kafuya Juma's report. Let's turn our attention now to one of our top stories today. International network Bloomberg is reporting that U.S. equity futures have tumbled alongside stocks in Europe and Asia as concerns mounted about the ability of authorities to keep the coronavirus from spreading further beyond China. The yield on 10-year treasuries sank to the lowest since 2016. According to the report, havens including treasuries and gold have jumped, with spot gold approaching $1,700. Now, to what extent will the situation impact the local market and the economy as a whole? Joining me via Skype to do some analysis is economist Courage Booty. Courage, welcome to the market, please.
Thank you and good afternoon to you.
All right, so it looks like the coronavirus care is not doing any good until now. Now, what is the impact? Because already stock markets in America and Asia have started tumbling. What will be the impact on the local market here?
Thank you. I think it's in two folds, really. If you look at it from the angle of disease spreading very fast in places like Iran and South Korea and then other surrounding regions, China, it has impact on the global growth outlook, at least this year. We have trade war now mostly out of the way, but this is a new trend that actually impact growth. If you realize a lot of companies are shut down in China because of this development. And then, of course, the rate at which it's destroying lives in these regions would have concern for economic activity. So naturally, we expect markets like that, like the US, to react to new development negatively. If you look at regions like ours, where I think there are talk from the disease not being able to survive, say, the warm our region. Plus, Africans are not really contracting it that much. It tells you that the international capital market itself is how short funds, and they'll be looking for safer places to place them. And I think Africa presents an opportunity in that regard. You can see that from the interest in Ghana's recently bond. You can see that from Gabon's bond, and then a few other emerging markets have on the market recently. So it's an opportunity for region like us where the pandemic is not yet here, and the chances of it being here are being discounted, as against the more established markets who are suffering because the disease is fast spreading in those regions. So it depends on how you look at it and where you stand.
Right.
But it presents an opportunity for us.
Now, the fact that investors are shifting away to safer havens like gold and other minerals, what opportunities do this also bring to us, especially when we are also producers of gold?
Exactly. So, of course, in this time, people who are not prepared for the risk in Africa and other emerging markets would go into the safe haven assets, the gold, and then all those other value-preserving assets. And we will realize that gold is the second largest FX earner for Ghana.
Okay.
And the prices have been quite strong on the back of this kind of development. And so the higher it goes, the better it is for us.
All right.
Let's not forget that, in fact, the growth of our economy shouldn't be dependent entirely on what is happening on the commodities market, because these things fluctuate. As it's going up as a result of the development for the disease.
All right, thank you very much, Courage. We seem to be having some challenges with your sound. That was Courage Buti, an economist. It's on live on the market. Please, we're taking a short break here. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the marketplace. Now, former CEO of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, Alex Mould, has called on government to reduce its recent fuel prices further. According to Mr. Mould, oil's percentage price drop is insignificant as the price of oil on the international market has fallen hugely. He tweeted, "Oil prices are down 7.5%, while the cedi has appreciated from 5.7 to 5.3, nearly 7.5%. However, he says fuel prices reduced by less than 0.2%. The Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, Duncan Amwa, joins me in the studio for some reaction. Duncan, you're welcome.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
So do you also share the same concerns as the former CEO of GNPC?
His figures are spot on.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the expectation may be far-fetched. One, what goes into your price build, there are some changes in there. And I'm sure that if he had been privy to the fact that NPA has reinstated some taxes that it had earlier reduced in order that government will get their revenue, he will not take issue with the oil marketing company.
But you see, before you continue, Duncan, that's where my problem is. When we're talking about deregulation, quickly, these oil marketing companies review their prices upward when there are changes, unfavorable changes on the market. But why is it that they are taking time, taking it difficult?
Emmanuel, until we get to a point where we look at the individual items that make up your price build-up, this system where consumers are only given increases will continue. And we've said this since last year, that we should have a pricing dialogue so that everybody concerned, interested, GPRTU, all stakeholders, AGI, we could have input into how Ghanaian petroleum price build works currently. Unfortunately, if you do not tinker or tweak the price build that we have now, the only thing you would have is continuous increases. And you cannot blame the oil marketing companies because they only deal with numbers. They take and they supply. Now, when they take and government says, charge these taxes, unless, of course, you are saying that they should also use their monies to pay for the taxes. But if the taxes are to come to you and I, then we should hold the government, not the oil marketing companies.
So looking at the taxes on one side and the key determinants that the the dollar and the price build-up, how does it affect prices?
You see, Manuel, three things. One, your ex-refinery price, that is the international market price component, That cannot be locally determined because we take from the global market. So that is one side. Then your cedi-dollar relationship would go to play with how much we import, and by the time we are done selling, how much cedi we would need to be able to pay the same, say, $1 million. So the cedi-dollar, the exchange becomes another issue. The third most critical thing is your taxes, right? Okay. If your taxes are high and international market prices are high, you pay more. If your taxes are high, international market prices are lower, and you do not infuse any taxes, prices would have come down. But if your taxes are high, international markets come lower, then you slot in taxes. You see what you have done? The effect is that you have now breached the hitherto relief that the consumer would have taken from the market by slotting in new taxes. Under the NDC era, if you recall, 2015, oil prices went down to about $28, $30. Ghanaians should have benefited hugely. Taxes were slotted in there. NPP comes and says we can do better, we would take some of the taxes off.
Which they did.
Which they did. But they also go back to even increase other tax elements. From the road fund that used to be about 41 is now 49. The energy sector, blah, blah, is 48, 49. That was also 40. So things are increased in the price element. And unless we take care of the elements in pricing, this unfortunate situation of prices only going up, and when it has to come down, taxes are slotted in there. Consumers may have to keep complaining.
Or some pricing windows where, you know, the key determinants shot up and quickly OMCs reflected in their prices quickly. But now we have these significant determinants coming down and we're not seeing anything. Consumers are worried.
Emmanuel, I used to fight the OMCs a lot until some of them came to you to show you their price build and what they have in there. Usually what they have in the entire price build, right, the final pump price, what they have usually in there is less than 2%. So the 98% makes up the international market price and blah, blah. But we expect that they will continuously use their 2 to 5% that they have in there to reduce prices. When the one who is taking more, between 23 and 34%, is taxes. The one taking more is still slotting in more. And then we forget them, and then we go blaming the OMCs. So I am saying the OMCs can serve us good. If and only if we scale down the taxes, if and only if we do not slot in additional taxes anytime prices have to go down, then you can expect that the OMCs will do the rational thing.
So lastly, before you go, I mean, what should we be doing? I mean, as a producing company and as consumers, what should we be doing?
You see, George, the crux, Emmanuel, the crux of the matter, let's look at the price build-up. Once we do that, we'll be able to remove some elements that are causing fuel prices to continuously remain high. If we don't do that, we'll only blame gold, blame others. Meanwhile, they are doing their best. Go check their price build, and you realize that they are almost collapsing.
Thank you very much. Duncan Amwa is Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Ghana. And that's it for the Marketplace today. My name is Emmanuel Afwan.